I'm Rob McConnell, and welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Today on the X Zone, the Great Lakes Triangle of North America. Found in the heartland of North America, these landlocked yet connected lakes, which eventually empty into the Atlantic Ocean, have become the scene of more mysteries involving ships, aircraft, people, UFOs, ghosts, and phantom ships than the Bermuda Triangle. 1/16th the size of the Bermuda Triangle, Lady John Graves Simcoe was the first European to chronicle the strange orbs of life that have been seen above and below the waters of Lake Ontario. First Canadians tell of great cities which surrounded the Great Lakes where men flew without wings. The Great Lakes Triangle of North America, one of the world's greatest mysteries, right in our own backyard.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's all right.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario. We're coming to you on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on Hometown Radio 1220. CFAJ in beautiful downtown St. Catharines. And to listen to the great programming on CFAJ or Classic 1220, visit them online, and you can listen anywhere around the world at www.classic1220.ca. All right, the first hour we talked about reincarnation. This hour we're going to be speaking to Todd Wilcox. And he is a Slipstream shaman. Joining us now from the state of Utah is Todd Wilcox. And Todd, welcome to the X Zone.
Hi, Rob. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be on and chatting with your listeners tonight.
Todd, tell us a little bit about yourself and what a Slipstream shaman is. I've never heard that before.
Well, that's because I made it up. And what is going on with me is years ago, I started working on myself. You know, when you're doing your own personal development, you start peeling away layers and looking for who you are and what you want to be when you grow up, or if you grow up in my case. And what I realized was as I started to learn about meditation and shamanism, was that my purpose in life was to help. And as I learned more and more about myself and where I need to be, I realized that what I was supposed to be helping is lots of people at once, teaching, not necessarily doing one-on-one trainings or one-on-one healing sessions, but teaching people how to do this. And with the Slipstream shaman, everything I do tends to be fast. And I studied different things, hypnosis, NLP, different healing modalities. And many of my instructors challenged us that if we could help somebody in 20 minutes, why couldn't we do it in 18 or 17 or 15 minutes instead of days, weeks, months? Start cutting back on the time it took to heal. And that's what the Slipstream is all about. When you're driving down the freeway and a big semi goes past you and you feel that it pushes you off to the side and then sucks you back over once it passes you, that's you're falling into its Slipstream. You get behind that semi, and what you notice is you're going faster than you were before it went by you. If you stay in its Slipstream, you're going faster, and your tachometer is going down. You're using less energy, less gas to go at a faster rate of speed because you're traveling in that Slipstream. And that's what this does. We work in a place of energy and spirit, and we create a Slipstream as we're doing this that heals us in our past and then jettisons us forward into our future in a much better state. And Slipstream just seems the right way to go.
What was it in your life, Todd, that put you on this path?
I think I was always on the path. I didn't know I was on the path. I didn't know that my purpose was to help. I didn't find that out until I started doing this work. And how I got involved with the shaman training was I was in a paranormal team, and we would go out and do investigations. Sometimes it was just for fun, but many times it was to help people that were having problems with a haunting, with something going on in their home that they were uncomfortable with. And every once in a while, there'd be a family you just couldn't help. And talking to other groups, they were running into the same thing. They usually were able to help people, but sometimes you couldn't. And one of the people that I knew from another group decided, let's make a group made up of multiple people from multiple groups and see if we can't help people that way. Mm-hmm. And I was invited to be a part of that. And I liked the whole concept, but I said, how are we going to help them? Our groups couldn't. How is this group going to help them? And so we started talking about things we needed to know, things we needed to learn. And one of the things that happened was we invited a shaman to train us about energy. And that's really where this whole thing started with me. Was once I found my own personal energy, I was able to create a place that I call a quantum room where I could really meditate, really make a difference, really interact with energy and spirit. And that's where I started to do some great work on myself and helping people that needed help and people that needed healing. So I always knew, in the back of my mind, I always knew I needed to help. And looking back, I joined the Marines because I wanted to help. I did this because I wanted to help. I did the paranormal because I wanted to help. Mm-hmm. Everything was to help. I just didn't realize it until I started meditating, and it became clear to me, what I was supposed to be doing.
Now, you call yourself Slipstream Shaman. What type of shaman are you, and where did you get your shaman training?
So my shaman training is primarily my own training, my own journey. And I have not formally trained with anybody.
Okay.
Being a shaman is you help people in a place of spirit and energy. And I found that place of spirit and energy and developed my own course, my own way. Typically, I just don't fit in with things. And this was another example. I don't really fit in, I don't fit in great at work. I don't fit in great in a lot of things. And same with shamanism. No one program, no one offshoot of shamanism rang 100% true for me. And so I developed my own. And that's where Slipstream Shaman came in. And I wanted it to be fast. We work in an area of quantum energy. And that's all about speed. So that's where the Slipstream part came in. And being a shaman, and it's funny because I didn't really call myself that. That was the name of my book, Slipstream Shaman. And then people started calling me Slipstream Shaman because of that. And so that was just kind of an organic thing that happened. That wasn't by plan or design. I just fell into that name after talking to people about the book and what I did.
I understand that about 20 years ago, you met with a shaman for training. However, the training didn't go very well. How come?
Well, and again, like I told you, I don't fit in. And I listen to what people say. And as she was doing the training, she was telling us, the group, here's what your energy is going to feel like. Here's what your energy is going to look like as we were searching for our energy. And it wasn't what mine felt like or looked like. Mine was at that time light blue. She was saying it was going to be red. Mine was cold. She was saying it was going to be warm. And as she was talking and trying to really force us to see her version, I disengaged. But I did pay attention to what she was teaching, the process of what she was teaching. So when I went home, I started doing it on my own. And I found my energy. And after I found my energy, that helped me get aligned to where I could go to a special place that I call a quantum room. And that's where I really do my meditation. And I just get separated from everything. Time is different there. Sometimes my physical body is 5 minutes takes place, but in the quantum room, it feels like 2 hours did. And other times 2 hours take place on my physical body, and it feels like I was only in that place for minutes. So time really is completely different once you get into that special place of energy and spirit.
You claim that you've helped thousands of people align their energy to help themselves heal. How do you do that? How do you heal all these people?
So part of that is one-on-one healings that I was doing. Part of that is teaching people how to do healings, how to heal themselves. And so, like I said earlier, I've moved away from the individual stuff. This last year, it was funny. I would be on a podcast, a radio show like yours, and I would offer a free healing for people. I've never charged for the healings, but I would offer a free healing. And after every show, I'd get 1 to 15 maybe requests. Something happened this last winter, the winter of 2022, and virtually every show I was on, I was getting hundreds of requests. I got thousands of requests for healings over the winter. And in reality, I could do 2 to 6 healings a day. I started trying to do more to keep up with this avalanche of requests. And I kind of burned out my ability to do it. I had to take a month off of helping people align their energy. And when I call it healing, it might not be the correct term. It's more of an alignment. I help people get their energy aligned so that they can heal, is a more accurate statement. But between just people hearing what I do and asking for a healing, hearing on the radio and podcasts and asking for a healing, I've absolutely lost count of how many have asked for them that I've done. And then there's thousands still waiting. So I'm in the process now of working on a way to help many people at the same time, so that all those people that I promised a healing and alignment to, I will eventually be able to do it somehow. So if anybody has sent me an email asking for a healing and you haven't heard back from me, I'm just so far behind, and I apologize.
Stand by, Todd. We've got to take our break. Exonation Todd Wilcox is our guest. His website is slipstreamshaman.com. Skeptic or believer? You tell me, Exonation. Exone at exoneradiotv.com. And don't forget, visit www.classic1220.ca. And for all the great programming on the Exxon Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
All right. I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm believing that you're in love with me. It's all sweet as candy.
Hello, Heaven here, God speaking. Look, if you leave your name, number and prayer after the tone, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Please note that I try to answer all prayers in strict rotation, but sometimes the answer is no.
I like the way your sparkling earrings lay against your skin so brown. And I want to sleep with you in the desert tonight, with a billion stars all around. 'Cause I got a peaceful...
Todd Wilcox is my guest, Exonation, www.slipstreamshaman.com. Todd, what kind of healings have those who have come to you for your help? What kind of healings have they received?
Yeah, excellent. We've, and I don't know why I guess I always say we is because it's when I'm working with somebody, I have different guides and different animals helping me. So I typically will respond to this with, we do this, but we've helped people, we've helped animals. We've helped many different animals with liver problems, with digestive problems, with hair problems. We've helped humans with virtually everything. For some reason, hearts really work well with this type of energy. When I'm working with people that are having heart trouble, they seem to respond really, really well. I've helped a young man that had 2 he had organ transplants and helped him turn the corner so that he came out of it okay. Almost anything you can imagine. Anxiety, a lot of anxiety. Almost everybody that's asking for help right now has something to do with anxiety. They're worried about work. They're worried about school. They're worried about, am I ever going to be able to buy a house? Are my kids going to be able to buy a house? There's a lot of anxiety and a lot of angst out there right now. And that's a big part of what I'm working on now.
So how does it work? If I was to call you up and say, hey, Todd, I'm stressed out totally, which I'm not, I might add. Okay. But if I was, how would you be able to help me?
Okay. So what would happen is you would, you reach out to me and you ask me for help. What I would do is when I go into my quantum room, I would find my energy, cover myself in energy, go to my quantum room. And in that place, I would invite you to join me. Now, you're physically not going to walk in, but there's a part of you, your essence. Maybe it's your spirit. Maybe it's your energy. I'm not sure exactly what it is that's a part of you comes into that quantum room with me. I have different animals that help me look for things that are going on with you. I have a beagle. She was a dog that I had passed away many years ago that has a great nose and could find anything. So she is usually the part of this whole thing that finds the problem. She'll be sniffing around you, finding something that's not quite right. And then we deal with it. And so what she might do is maybe she'll find something on your knee that looks like say an acorn, and she'll pull it out. We will then send healing energy to your leg where that was, then love energy to seal that area off so that nothing else gets there. And then we focus on the thing that was on your leg. And what I call these things are companions. These started out as something that was positive that over the years has started to cause you trouble. And so then we would focus our energy on this thing that looks like an acorn, clean it up, fill it with love energy, and then it usually will change into something else. It might change from an acorn to a fish or maybe a star. But it's what is happening is it's returning to its proper energy state. It's going back to a state of energy that can go off and help somebody again like it did the first time. And so when I'm talking to people about companions, the way I picture it is, say you're a little boy and you hurt your arm and you see the wrestlers on TV and they have the things tied around their arms, to hold their muscles tight while they're wrestling. And so you do that to make your arm feel better. And it does. In that moment, your arm feels better. But what happens tomorrow? What happens a week from now? What happens a month from now if you leave that thing tied on your arm? What happens in 10 years if you leave that tied on your arm and never take it off? And that's what's happening with these companions. Something was with us. Something happened with us. And it was there for a positive reason. It was there to help us for some reason. But through time, we outgrew our need for it and outgrew it. And now we just have to remove it. And that's probably 95% of the things I work on are things that started off positively, but through time have now actually caused trouble.
I'm a little confused here because I asked you, I'm stressed out, and I'm trying to figure out how stress is related to my knee.
Well, and I don't know. That was, as we were talking, that was the thing that came to me. Many times when people are stressed out and they have anxiety, I see a cloud over them. But I don't really guide what happens. So when you asked me to describe this, that was just what came to me. And so I don't know, maybe, could be you're stressed out about your knee, or maybe that's just where it's manifesting. Maybe the stress is locked up in your knee, or maybe there's nothing at all to do with your knee, but that's just where I picture it when I'm doing the work. Doesn't necessarily mean that I'm curing your knee. That's just how it appears to me.
So it's like a metaphor.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. An energy metaphor.
So do you do this using Skype, using Zoom, telephone, or email? How do you do this?
Most of the time it's email. For people that hear me on these shows, most of the healings I did before I started doing podcasts and radio shows and that, most of it was just word of mouth. Somebody would say, hey, my cousin's having problems and he would like you to help with this. My neighbor's dog is having problems. Can you help the dog? So it was just by talking to people. When I do the email work, I have not done any Skype yet. Every once in a while, somebody will ask for this, and I can't quite connect with them. So I'll make a quick phone call, and that little bit of interaction is enough to get things going. But for the most part, just from an email and a name and a request, they've set the intent. And really, when healing begins is when you intend for it to. It's all internal. And so when people set the intent and get with me, then I can find their energy and do this work. And we can do it through email. It's not as easy for me. It takes more energy than if I knew somebody. But space doesn't matter. I've helped people all over the world in many, many different countries. So being a long way away from me doesn't affect it at all.
So do you use time travel in what you do?
It feels like time travel many times, because especially in my own healing, when I'm working on a situation that happened to me 30 years ago, and I change my perspective of that event as I'm doing the healing, that feels like time travel to me. I've gone back to that event. I've changed my perception. My brother and I, we talk about things that happened with us when we were kids. He has one version of it. I have another. We're in the same room or in the same car or in the same place. And we each have really different perspectives of what happened. And so really, with a lot of our healing, a lot of our trauma, it's our emotion, it's our perception of what happened. So when I make that change, it absolutely feels like time travel, because I'm in that place again, reliving it, changing the way I look at it, helping other people change the way they look at a situation, and you can feel it changing through your lifeline. So I would say, yeah, it's very, very similar to a time travel event.
Would you also say that what you do is it parallels remote viewing?
Yes, and associative remote viewing, where you're picking up information from something that is, when you're doing the remote view exercise, is something that has happened many times with me. I was telling you about the young man that had the organ transplants, and they asked me if I could reach out to him, and I did. I reached out to him. I could feel him. He was in the room with me. He was very gray and tired. And as we were working, really, we didn't look for problems with him, because we knew what the problems were. We just fed him energy, just fed him healing love energy until he was overflowing and it was coming out of him. Once that happened, he moved to the side, and there was another little boy in the room, in my quantum room. And he was really tired looking, very, very worn out. And we started doing the same thing with him. He stood up straighter, felt better. Right color came to him. And then all that love energy that we were feeding him went off into 6 different streamers, which I believe he was sending that love to his family. This turned out to be the donor. And as he was sending that energy to his family, and I could just see how happy he was, I thought, you know what, I need to know his name. And I asked his name, and I just kept getting a letter. And I'm not going to tell you the letter he said for to stay confidential, but we'll just say he said C. And so I'm thinking, okay, is his name Charlie? Is it Cedric? And I'm thinking of all these C names. And I said, what is your name? C. He just kept telling me C. And the next day, I'm talking to the nurse that asked me to reach out to the boy that received the organs, what the donor's name was. And I said, and I know you probably can't tell me, but he kept telling me it was a C. And I said, is it Charlie? Is it something like that? And she laughed and said, no, his name's Cece. And so I was hearing him say C, but I wasn't picking up that he was saying it together. It was a different letters, but that is a form of associative remote viewing. And it's one of the happiest things that I ever did. The little boy that was in trouble, that things were rejecting and was getting bad. The next day he was up and walking. He was out of the hospital in less than a week. And I'm not saying that I just made everything work as if by magic. What I think happens, what I think I do, is I'm basically the straw that breaks the camel's back. The doctors are doing their thing to help him heal. The boy's doing his thing to help him heal, but it's just not quite there. And I'm that last piece that helps it all work. And that's
Stand by,
really
Todd. We've got to take a break. Exonation, Todd Wilcox is our special guest. Slipstreamshaman.com is his website. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. We're coming to you on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on classic1220.ca. That is Classic 1220 CFAJ in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
With a billion stars all around, 'cause I got a peaceful, easy feeling that I know you won't let me down, 'cause I'm already
Throughout Canada, psychic fairs spring up in towns and villages of all sizes. Now, what is the best way of choosing a psychic at a psychic fair? According to Stan and Ray, organizers of First Star Famous Psychic Fairs, visitors to a psychic fair should walk around the fair a number of times until they're drawn to a particular psychic. And you can visit their website at www.e-psychic.com. Never be pressured into getting a reading from a psychic that you just don't feel comfortable with. If you're not satisfied with your reading, tell the psychic. And remember, people, psychic readings at a psychic fair are for entertainment purposes only.
Up until now, I've learned to live without love. Like a ship without a sail, wandering aimlessly lost.
Welcome back, everyone. Todd Wilcox is our guest. He is the Slipstream Shaman himself. His website, slipstreamshaman.com. Todd, I understand that you are also part of a paranormal investigation team and that you have had a UFO experience, alien contact, and there's someone that you deal with, hundreds of encounters with an entity that you call Watching Man. Tell us about Watching Man.
Yeah. Okay, Watching Man. Many people, I'm shocked at how many people have seen this thing. It's about 6 feet tall, fairly broad built, dark, looks like it's wearing a hat or a helmet. And typically it's just standing there staring at you. It many times looks like it has a cape or a long coat. And I've heard it called Hat Man. I've heard it called Shadow Man, Shadow People. And I've seen this thing since I was a little kid. I don't know how many different times I've seen these. I've seen them many times when I'm doing the energy work. They'll be watching, typically don't get involved. They just watch. And I am not sure what they are. I don't know if they're time travelers. I don't know if they're us in the future. I don't know if they're a spirit. You know, there's a lot of different theories. I talked to a guy one time. I've entered in addition to seeing them so many times, I've talked to hundreds of people that have, as I was preparing for a book that I didn't finish up with. But one of the people I talked to described seeing one of these at the foot of his bed, and he was, he woke up, saw it, it was looking at him, and while he was laying there just looking, it walked towards him, through his bed, through him, until it was completely through him to the wall behind him. And as soon as this thing was behind him, this guy's perspective changed from laying in bed looking up at this thing to looking out of that thing's eyes down at his own body. And it told him, I am you. We are one. Something along those lines. I can't remember the exact phrasing, but he believed what he was seeing was himself in the future in his life review when you die. He felt like that was part of his life review, and that was him. Whether or not that's the case, I have no idea. But I can tell you, the first few times I saw these things, I was a little shaken. But over the years, when really all they do is watch, I have come to enjoy them and I'm kind of interested when they show up. I still see them from time to time, but when I'm doing the energy work, I see them quite often. And there's, I would guess, probably close to 20% of the population has seen these things.
You see them when you do interview work. What kind of interviews?
Well, when I'm doing my energy work, but I did a bunch of interviews for a book I was going to write. I never finished up on that one. It was about the shadow people, the Hat Man, the Watching Man, whatever you want to call it, and that guy that told me about it was just during one of those interviews.
Have you ever tried to communicate with him?
I have not, and I don't know why. And maybe we're having some kind of mental communication. I'm not sure, but no, I've never tried to speak to them. I've never asked what they're doing, and I couldn't even tell you why. Just like when I saw that UFO, I didn't think to record anything. We're on a paranormal investigation. 3 of the 4 of us have cameras. Nobody turned the camera towards this thing. All we did was stand there in amazement and swear. And so I don't know if it's the same type of thing happening when I see these things, but I never think to ask for a conversation, and I really should. But you don't see them in my physical body. When I see them, it's just fast. It's lightning fast. You barely see them. In meditation, they're there for a bit, and I probably could communicate if I tried. But great question. I don't know why I haven't tried, and I really need to.
How about trying to take a picture?
Like when I see them in my physical form, when it's so fast.
Really?
It's like milliseconds that you see these things. It's not, for me, when I see them, it's very fast. Corner of your eye. As soon as you get them in focus, they're gone. People that I've talked to have seen them for longer than that, but I never have.
If you see them for a millisecond, how can you describe them?
Maybe I have a fast brain. I'm not sure, but I see the whole thing. But it's really by the time you see them and look across them, that's when they're gone for me. In my physical form, when I'm meditating, when they're there, when I'm doing the shaman work, then I can see a full, I can spend time looking at them. But for years, I just saw them just very fast.
Tell me about your UFO experience. You've got my interest up here.
Yeah. So we were at a place called Merker Cemetery in the West Desert of Utah. It's very close to Dugway Proving Grounds. Its new nickname is Area 52. And we were up on a mountain, and we were doing an investigation of a cemetery that is a very active paranormal cemetery. Most of the time when you go up there, you get some kind of EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. And many times you'll get a picture or two of something that you can't explain. We were standing talking, looking across the valley at another set of mountains, and this light appears. It just showed up on the other side of the valley, and it's coming towards us fairly slowly. It didn't look like when you see a plane or you see a helicopter and they've got their headlights, for lack of a better term, on. You know what that looks like. Mm-hmm. This thing had a light that was shining straight down from it, and you really couldn't see the source. The light was coming down. It went across the valley. It went over us. It was maybe, it was less than 20 yards to the side of us, and it looked like it was maybe 80 feet to 100 feet high. I could not see what the ship or whatever it was looked like, but the light that was coming down was very bright. And the odd part is you could see this column of light, but you couldn't see where it touched the ground. So it came down, but it just kind of diffused and was gone. And as soon as it got to the mountain behind us, it just disappeared. Just like it appeared on the other side of the valley by a mountain, it got to got past us on the mountain we were on and just disappeared. I don't know if it took off fast. I don't know if the light just went out. I don't know if it went through a portal or something. I don't know what happened, but it was just gone, instantaneously gone. And after we talked for a couple minutes, we all looked at each other and said, did you turn your camera on? Did you shine your camera on it? None of us did. We were so overwhelmed with watching it that nobody turned the camera towards it.
Were there any reports in the media the next day about this sighting? And did you make a report to anyone with this sighting?
No, we didn't contact MUFON, anything like that. It was, we talked to the people in our different groups. There was myself and another guy from my group, and then two other people that were each from another group. So there was 3 groups represented. We talked to our own team members, but we didn't call the media or anything like that. And we didn't report it to MUFON. And it's a very remote area we were in. Mm-hmm. So there wouldn't have been a lot of opportunity for other people to see it.
But as a paranormal investigator, weren't you curious to find out if any reports had been made to the local sheriff's office, if anybody had seen any weird radar tracks at air traffic control, something to collaborate what your sighting was?
That would make a lot of sense. I was so excited to finally see what I would call a UFO, whether it was terrestrial or extraterrestrial, I don't know. Sure. I was so excited about it. All I wanted to do was talk about it. So yeah, I went full knucklehead mode, and people are always saying, why don't we get pictures of Bigfoot? Why don't we get pictures of that? Yeah. Here we are, guys, with cameras in our own hands, and we didn't do it because we were so in awe of what was happening. I wish I had a great answer for you as to why we didn't do any of those things, but I did talk to a lot of people, and I virtually told everybody I came in contact with.
Do you think that these visitors from wherever they are, I mean, if they are really from other planets, other galaxies, other dimensions, do you think that they are here to cause us problems? Do you think they pose a threat to humanity?
I don't. And through the years, as I've talked to many, many people that have had experiences with them, they don't like the people that have been abducted that I've talked to don't like the fact that they were taken against their will. They don't like the fact that experiments happen to them. But the people that I've dealt with never felt like there was anything evil about these things. They didn't feel like they were captured by a serial killer or anything like that. They had neutral feelings about it. And so I've got to believe that if any race that can come across the galaxy or go through, create a way to go through dimensions or anything like that, if they're capable of doing that, I would think they'd be very capable of taking over this planet if they wanted to. And since they haven't, I guess I'm in the camp that says they're not here for bad reasons.
All right, Todd, stand by. We've got to take our final break. Exonation, Todd Wilcox is our guest. Slipstreamshaman.com is his website. And we'll be back on the other side as we wrap up this hour here in the X-Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and on Classic 1220 CFAJ at www.classic1220.ca.
To lose my control, but now that I found you, this is all so new.
I'm Rob McConnell, and welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Today on the X-Zone, the Roswell crash of 1947. In July of 1947, something crashed near the small town of Roswell, New Mexico. That something is believed to have been a flying saucer by millions of UFO enthusiasts around the world, headed by nuclear physicist Stanton Friedman. Now, Friedman has never seen any physical evidence of the alien craft or the remains of its alien occupants, but bases his belief on the stories that he has heard from locals and townspeople alike. According to the United States Air Force and other government agencies, the Roswell incident was not a crashed alien ship. Friedman and his followers insist to this very day that the governments of the world are covering up the fact that the aliens are here, and that the denial of the UFO crash at Roswell, New Mexico is proof of this global government cover-up. Join me, Rob McConnell, for another story from the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology when next we meet in the X Zone, the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard.
Welcome back, everyone. Before we get back to our guest, I'd just like to remind everyone that the X Zone Christmas Shopping Mall is now open at www.xzonexmas.com. That's XZONE, XMAS.com. And the current edition of the X Chronicles newspaper is also available at www.xchronicles.net. That's XCHRONICLES.net. And once again, for all the broadcast shows on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit www.xzbn.net. My guest this hour is Todd Wilcox. He is the Slipstream Shaman, and his website is www.slipstreamshaman.com. First of all, Todd, thanks very much for taking time out of your day to come and join us here on the X Zone. I appreciate it.
Oh, I've had an absolute blast. And I love the music, the intro music that you just played, Baker Street. My daughter was a figure skater for a long time, and she actually skated to that intro, was part of her routine. So that brought back some wonderful memories. Thank you for playing that.
Oh, it's my great pleasure. I understand that you have had an alien contact, and I'd love to hear that story.
Okay. So for years, I would make the joke when I was with groups. I had a radio show for 7 years as well, and I would make jokes about I can't wait until the aliens abduct me. I'm going to let them get me on their ship, and I'm going to take it over. I'm going to commandeer the ship and go explore the galaxy. I'm looking forward to this. And I was a real smart aleck about it, and for years I was talking about this, and I want everybody to know that I am not making fun of the aliens right now. I'm just telling you what happened with me. So I did this for years, and every guest that I would say that to would tell me, Todd, you don't know what you're saying. Don't do this. It's bad. It's not something that you joke about. You need to stop. And these were people that had been abducted. One was Dr. Jacobs, who has done all the hypnotic regressions, and he says, Todd, stop this thing. You don't know what you're doing. And so I did it for a long time, and I was traveling in a remote part of the Southwest, and I love staying at those little L-shaped motels.
Oh yeah,
and most of them used to have a swimming pool out front. I always go out of my way to stay at those. I loved them. And I'm staying at one of those, and I peek out the back window, and this window's tiny. It's like a foot tall and 2 feet, 3 feet wide. But I'm looking out the back of this motel, and there's all these mangled up. There's old broken cars. There's washers and dryers and refrigerators, just garbage back there. And I watch TV for a little while, turn off the lights, go to sleep. Sometime while I'm asleep, I wake up, and I look at that wall where that window is, and it's gone. There is nothing there. You can walk right at it. And things started walking through the wall at me, where the wall had been, different aliens. There was 3 different sized gray, what we call gray aliens. Mm-hmm. There was a thing that looked like a tumbleweed. There was an insect looking one. They made me get out of bed. Excuse me. They surrounded me and made it very clear that I was to stop making fun of what was going on, and that I was not able to commandeer a ship, that I would not be able to take over things, and I need to stop making light and making fun of this that's going on. And I was quite scared. I was quite nervous. I could not move. They had control of me, and and they said, so that you remember this, you're going to be sick for the next 3 days. And then they made me lay back down. They went out the back where that wall had been. The wall was back, and I went to sleep. I was violently ill for the next 3 days. I felt like I had radiation poisoning. It was awful, and so I decided I was no longer going to make fun of this, and I stopped. And another time I was traveling, and I was in a van, and I just pulled over and slept on a road. And what I thought was a dream, as I recall, as I analyze it more, I don't believe it was, but I was asleep in that van, and then I was in the front seat with this alien, it's insect-like alien, talking about being in one of their ships. And this thing was describing to me why I couldn't be in this certain type of ship because the forces that took place on the ship as it was traveling would rip me to pieces. The physics of it would tear me apart. And it was giving me very high level, very detailed explanation of the physics. And I somehow understood everything it was telling me. I understood, yes, all your calculations, everything you're telling me is right. I wish I had made some notes, because within an hour and a half of getting up that next morning, I woke up. I could still remember everything it told me, but within an hour, all the technical side of it was gone. And so I truly wish I'd have made some notes or a recording or something talking about what it told me, because it was crazy how much I understood it and what a wonderful conversation it was, even though there's no way I'd be able to do the math or understand the physics. That's not my forte at all.
Wow.
There's no way I would have known, but I did. I understood everything it was telling me.
Let's go back to the encounter that you had at the L-shaped motel, where the 1x3 window wall had disappeared, and these ETs came to you, and they kind of gave you a warning to knock it off.
Yes.
You were going to be sick for 3 days. Why couldn't you have used your quantum healing to heal yourself so you weren't sick for 3 days?
So that great question. That took place, excuse me, that took place before I had really developed it. At that time, I was just starting to get my energy. Okay. I didn't have a quantum room at that time. The timing wasn't right. Whether or not I could have, I don't know. But that's a great question. And it's something that if it ever happens again, I'm going to have to remember to do. Unlike when I had the opportunity to put a camera on a UFO and didn't remember to do that. I want to, if I get that opportunity where they do something like that again, let's see if I can counteract it.
Why do you think you've been selected to have contact?
Really good question. I feel like I might have had contact when I was younger as well, but it's the memory of it is bits and pieces. I can't quite say that I did or didn't when I was younger, but part of it was because I was being a smart aleck, and I had a forum where lots of people could hear me, and they didn't like it, so that was why I was selected. And I think I put off an energy that probably attracts and encourages visitation, because I have such an interest. And many people have an interest, but I have that interest. I have that desire to see them. Many times I can remember driving. I love driving at night when there's less cars, and I've seen odd things happening, and I thought, okay, this is it. This here it comes. I'm here. Look at me. This is thinking that it might be a UFO that I'm seeing turns out to be a helicopter or an odd jet or whatever. But I think I've put it out there with my thoughts, my energy that I'm open and interested.
Listen, Todd, our time is going really fast. In the next minute, tell us what the message is that you would like to share with the Exo Nation tonight.
First of all, thank you for listening to me. And if you boil down what I do, and it's to help. And what I would love to see is people working together, helping their community, helping the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make things better. We're in the holiday season. When you're in a restaurant or a retail place, be extra nice to the people that are working there. And just remember, they're the ones that showed up. So be nice to the ones that actually came to work. And, they're doing the best they can, and be nice to them, and take it easy on the road. Let that person go by without flipping them off, as hard as it might be. And let's be nice to each other. Let's get along and make this place better.
Love it. Love it. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. Todd, quickly tell our listeners how they can find out more about you, where they can get your book, and how they can contact you for a one-on-one consultation.
Okay. So if you go to slipstream.shaman.com, you can order the book there. There's a link to Amazon. And unfortunately, I don't do the consultations anymore. I'm working on helping people learn how to do this. Mm-hmm. So I've got a new online course. If you send me an email, slipstreamshaman@gmail, or there's a link at the website, I can give you a link for a friend's discount since you're contacting me through this show. And the book is on Amazon.
Todd, have a nice evening. Thank you very much for joining us, and I look forward to the next time you and I meet back here in the X Zone. Take care, my friend.
Thanks, Rob. It's been a blast. Thank you, sir.
X Zone Nation will be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and on Hometown Radio 1220 CFAJ at www.classic1220.ca.
I know who wants to take me home. I know who wants to take me home.